Okay, this is kind of like
The
a part
best
2 video.
animation,
I mean,
let's
you don't
watch
have
it.
to have seen the part 1 video to understand what
I
I
didn't
talk
watch
about in this video. But I mean, if you haven't watched part 1, you should. So I
Yeah.
used to work at Subway, and to be honest, about 80% of the customers were fine. Sometimes they would do something that would just personally annoy me, like ask for a meatball on flatbread. So don't
Rude.
feel too bad for me. Like sometimes people would ask me, can I have a turkey with lettuce, tomatoes? Whoa, 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 slow down. What kind of bread? Footlong or 6-inch? What kind of cheese? Is it toasted? Then we'll talk about vegetables. And every time someone brought in a list, there would always be something missing on it. Always. I never had someone come in with a complete list. I would ask someone, what kind of cheese? And they would say, they didn't specify. Well then, if they didn't care enough to remember cheese, I guess they'll get Swiss. If
Good
anyone
animations.
watching is
I'm just
currently
saying,
working at a
nice
Subway, then
animation.
feel free to use these tricks. If someone asked
What
me,
trick?
What kind of cheese do you recommend?
I would always say provolone, because it's the easiest cheese to pull apart with gloves on. Really, if anyone asked me what I recommended, I would just tell them
Okay.
the easiest thing for me to do. But even after I gave my
recommended, okay, what's
insightful
that?
provolone cheese recommendation, sometimes people would still say,
I'll take American.
why do you even ask me what cheese I would recommend if you're not
Yeah,
going to
that's
take it
true.
seriously?
That's
Another thing that would
annoying.
annoy me is when people would say the sandwich was all done, but they didn't put any sauce on it. So I would ask, any sauce? And then they would be like, oh yeah, mayonnaise. Oh, why did you tell me it was all done if it
Wow.
wasn't? Also, the receipt machine
Wow.
at the store
Wait,
took like
that's
7
pretty
seconds to
annoying,
print
I'm
out the receipt. So it would be very awkward every time I would ask people, do you want your receipt? And then they would say yes, and then we would just stare at each other until the receipt printed. So what I did every
that
time
is
someone
a
swiped their
good
credit card,
animation.
I would just stare off into space, and in my head I would count to 5, and then I would
Two,
ask,
three,
do you want
five.
your receipt? And by the time they said yes, it was like magic. As soon as they said yes, the receipt printed. At Subway, you only work
Right.
with one other person. So if someone got annoyed and said, let me talk to your manager, I would just
Okay.
look at them and go, listen, I've been here the longest. The only
Okay.
other person in this store is a 16-year-old girl, and she technically isn't old enough to use a toaster, so
Okay.
I'm probably your best bet. I'm the manager. Like, do
Ha.
people think the manager will automatically take their side and give them free stuff? Yes, actually they do think that because it happens all the time. I would consider myself
No,
a
it
pretty
doesn't. Trust me, it
laid-back
doesn't.
Subway employee. I
Yeah,
didn't
you
like to be
are.
stingy
Maybe.
with people,
Just
even though I was
saying,
disobeying
probably.
the Subway formula on purpose. Oh, you want more than 6 olives on your footlong?
I do.
Sure. Here, have a 5th slice of cheese. $1.50 for avocado? Pfft, I'll charge you 75 cents, buddy. I probably shouldn't be saying these things.
Yeah, that's
in
true
case this
stuff.
whole YouTube thing flops and I need a job. So I wasn't really strict on the rules. You know those fast food workers who are strict? No, we won't serve breakfast at 10:02. Get out. But being pretty laid back
Well,
still
that
didn't
never
stop
happened
people
to
from
me.
being
I
annoying.
usually got
So this one
McDonald's
person
and
comes in
they're
and
like,
asks
"Okay,
for
you're
2
welcome."
footlong pastrami sandwiches. And pastrami is our most expensive sandwich. It's about $10
I love it
for a
too.
footlong. And guys, the pastrami is super good. But I wouldn't pay
is,
for it.
it
I mean,
is.
it's good, yeah, but I'm not paying $10 for a footlong. It's not worth it. So this guy, I make his 2 sandwiches, I ring him up, and I say, that'll be $20. And I guess he didn't look at the price of the sandwich on the menu, or he thought we still did the $5 footlongs, because he said to me, I ain't paying for that. And this is when I was just starting out. I only had like a week of experience. And after he said that, I
That's like
responded,
sad.
well, shoot.
Well-
I guess you're not paying for it. I didn't know people could do that. Hey, I want this.
Okay.
All right, that's $20. Nah, you don't want it? No, I want it. I'm just not paying for it. Okay,
Why?
no, but actually, we
So
did
what are
come
you
up with
gonna
a
do?
compromise. He told me that he had $12, so he ended up paying for one of the sandwiches, and I got to eat the other one. So it all worked out. This one time I was making a sandwich for a guy with a very
Okay, what
heavy
was this?
accent, and he asks for onions
Hello.
on the side. No big deal. We at Subway put vegetables in little cups all the time. I actually got a soup cup because the on the side cups are teeny tiny, and I start doing my thing, but then he says, no, on the side. And I think,
is on
oh,
the
he's
side.
getting a foot long. He probably wants onions on half of it, but not the other. So I start
Oh,
putting onions
God.
on half the sub, but then again
So
he
this
says,
video's
no,
being
on the side. At this point, I don't know what this guy wants. So I ask him, on the side of what? And then he screams, onions! And I never figured out what he was trying to say. This one old gentleman asks for sauce to be put on his vegetables, and normally we put it on top of the sandwich with the meat. And I didn't know if I heard him correctly because I put the sauce on, and then I
Okay.
closed the sandwich. So your sauce would have been in the same place either way. One time, this woman tipped me and Corey $40. She wasn't annoying. I just want to sprinkle in some good customer stories. Okay, one
That's
time
true.
this Native
okay,
American
one time what happened?
person came in, and I don't know if
America.
mentioning that was important to the story.
4th of
He
July.
comes in and asks for 5 foot long
And I